Hello class, it's Miss DiPisa here, and today we're going to go over fractions with denominators of 10 and 100 and how we're going to convert those to decimals. So quickly what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over what a decimal is. And I know we've already gone over this, but I'm just going to go over it again. The decimal point is the period here. Here is the 0 in the tenths place, and here is the 0 in the hundredths place. And this is what a decimal just looks like, even though we definitely know this already. And what I'm going to start by doing is showing you what 10 over 100 looks like in a decimal form. Here we have 10 over 100. 10 over 100 is equal to 0.10. The 1 in the tenths position gets transferred to the tenths place. And their 0, because there's 0 ones in 10, goes to the hundredths place. So the 0 corresponds with the 0 in the hundredths place, and the 1 to represent the tenth goes in the tenths place. Similarly, but not exactly the same, is 1 over 100 as a fraction. So here is 1 over 100. 1 over 100 is equal to 0.01. Imagine an imaginary 0 in front of this 1 right here. That 0 would represent the tenths because we have no tenths in this situation. We only have hundredths. So there would be a 0 that would transfer to the tenths place to hold the place because nothing is there. And the 1 is going to transfer all the way over to the hundredths place over here to represent the 1 over 100. So 1 over 100 is equal to 0.01. I have another example also, and it's a bigger number, and it's 25 over 100. 25 over 100 equals 0.25. In this situation, we have a number to represent the tenths and the 100ths. So the 2 represents the 20 in 25, so it goes into the tenths place because there are 2 tenths. The 5 goes all the way over to the hundredths place because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones plus 20 equals 25. So the 2 goes over to the tenths and the 5 goes over to the hundredths to show that there are 25 out of 100. I also have this chart to show you of what they all look like in comparison to one another. 1 over 100 is 0.01 as we discussed. 10 over 100 is 0.10, and I made the imaginary 0 because you don't have to write it, but I wanted to show it to you show you that there are 0 hundredths in this scenario. And 25 over 100 is 0.25 as we just discussed. I have some visuals and some brief examples I'd like to go over with you. I have 10 frames here, which we work with in class very often. And I want to show you what each of those numbers looks like in a 10 frame. Here we have what? What do we think we have? A whole row filled in with the purple dots out of 100 little squares. So if one whole row is filled in, let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 100 turns into the fraction 10 out of 100, which is also which decimal we just discussed. Think about it for a second. Which decimal is 10 over 100? It is 0.10 because there are 1/10 out of the 100, 0.10. Next, I want to show you what 1 out of 100 looks like, and I gave you this answer already because remember, it is one little square out of the whole 100 squares. So it's 1 out of 100, which is different than 0.1 because 0.1 means 10 and 0.01 means 1. And I also have 25 to show you that there are 2 10s, 2 whole rows filled up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones put in here as well. So there are 25 out of the whole 100, which is 0.25. 25 out of 100. We're going to do some examples now together before you move on to do the ones by yourself. 63 over 100. 63 over 100. We have 6 in the tenths place and 3 in the hundredths place. So that would be 0.63. 6 in the tenths place, 3 in the hundredths place. 63 out of 100, 0.63. And you can repeat that as many times as you want by rewinding the video. We have 6 out of 100. So we have nothing in the tenths place, but we have 6 in the ones place. Nothing in the tenths place, 6 in the ones place. So it becomes 0.06. Now we have one with a denominator of 10, and I didn't go over those as much because they're not as tricky as the ones with the hundreds. And I know that we've worked with fractions with denominators that have two numbers many times before, even though it wasn't a base 10. So we have 4 over 10. 4 over 10, so we have a number in the tenths place. So we have 0.4, and I wrote the 0 here to show you that imaginary 0 because there are no numbers in the hundredths place. 4 tenths, 0.4. And finally for you, I have 97 out of 100. 97 out of 100, and if you remember our big 10 square, that's 25 out of 100, so 97 must be a lot out of that 100. So what we do is we put a 9 in the tenths place because we have 9 tens. We have 9 rows all filled up. And then we have 7 ones, so the 7 goes in the hundredths place. So 97 out of 100 is 0.97. I hope this video helped you a little bit get an introduction to this topic. We're going to do some problems now in the Prezi. And then tomorrow we'll go over them in class and play a special game. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.